So somebody had asked about a quick tutorial on buffing and what the various things are, various do's and such. There's two actual things you're doing when you're buffing. One's called cut, the other's called a color. It's cut color. The first step for most buffing operations, I do anyway, is on a sewn sisal wheel, which is a rope wheel. This is a brand new one here. They come pretty large. And I spin these reasonably fast, about 1800 RPM. And I charge this with emery, which is the coarsest, that's the black. And that's the coarsest. And what this does is it kind of smooths out scratch marks and gives you a kind of a rounded, blended surface. It won't erase scratch pattern. So if you're trying to make a buffed finish, like a really mirror polished finish, you still want to do this step, but you want to make sure your underlying finish is pretty good. You can't go straight from a 60 or 80 grit finish straight to a mirror finish on a buffing wheel. That just doesn't work. Then you just have shiny scratches. You want to go, I usually go to at least 400 grit hand sanded before I start buffing, depending on the object. Most of the time I don't buff my blades, I hand sand them out to 8 or 1000 grit, whatever. But I do a lot of buffing on guards and fittings and such, and I'll start by using, because I like that being rounded. Buffing tends to wash out hard ridges. So this will be the first step here. I'll start with the sewn muslin, or sewn sisal wheel with the black oxide. And then I'll move over to either a sewn cloth wheel or muslin wheel, hard sewn. And these I usually do with green chrome, which is a color. Sometimes I'll go back and do a second cut with the white, this is stainless oxide, white tripoli. And that'll cut pretty well and give a high finish, and then I'll follow with green chrome. The finest finish is going to be pink, no scratch, and then kind of in between is the red rouge. Now rouge, I noticed, doesn't really cut well on hard metals, so I really only use rouge on soft metals like brass or silver. The chrome and the silver oxide, or stainless oxide, and the emery will cut on just about anything. So I can do steel on here, brass, copper, whatever. I do try to keep them clean and uncorrupted. I keep them underneath the table for the finer grits. If you're going to go as far as pink, no scratch, you want to have a dedicated wheel for that grit and have it somewhere in a plastic bag or something so it doesn't get corrupted by dust in the air. I don't generally find it necessary to go pink, no scratch. I know a lot of people do. We used to have some around here, but I don't even think we have any anymore. For safety on these things, these are one of the more dangerous machines. I'm sorry. After I follow with I'll follow this with the next finest on a loose sewn wheel like this. That'll be my final finish. On handles, I just skip right to the buff on the loose sewn. The more supported this is, the better you're going to get for crispness of angles. The less supported this is, the more you'll get rounding and get rid of faceting. So depending on what you're trying to do, both will be helpful. I also tend to run these fairly slow. Both of these machines run around 1700 RPM versus 3600 RPM. I find super fast buffing wheels to be scary as hell, and I don't really like them. Safety on a buffing wheel is basically don't present a point or an edge or anything that can catch. We've all had scary stories if you've worked on buffing wheels. I've had a tomahawk go up to the ceiling and almost cut my head off. I've had knives pulled away from me even when I thought I was being safe. They are a terrifying tool, and they are really literally one of the most dangerous tools in the shop. But they can be used safely. The biggest thing is if you're using a knife, especially on the buffer, you always want to have that point down and nothing like this that can catch. So if I'm going to have cuff and try to buff into this corner, I'm not going to go this way. I'm going to come this way and work straight across and then go back to vertical. I don't want to just come in like this, especially. This will take the knife away from me as soon as it cuts into that. And it'll do the same on the spine as well. These are really useful, but like I said, they are also very terrifying tools. If you have any other questions, guys, just shoot them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. Thanks.